Hey, I'm Allison, and this is Realistically Consistent, where we talk about how to build sustainable fitness, nutrition, and mindset habits that actually last even as a busy mom. I'm here to help get you consistent, not perfect, and on your way to feeling like your best self. I'm so excited to start today's episode with you. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to another episode of Realistically Consistent. I am so excited. Today we have our very first guest on with us today, and this is Kayla. She's going to share a little bit about her story and just her experience in, taking control back over her health. And I think that it's so important to hear other women's stories because it can feel so isolating, and sometimes it feels like we are so alone because our circumstances feel so unique, and they are so unique to us. But there are so many women out there with so many commonalities and similarities. And I think just hearing how other people were able to, take control of their health and lifestyle and their reasons for wanting to do so can be helpful for other women to maybe feel empowered to take their control back as well. And so me and Kayla were just talking really briefly before I got started here, just reminiscing on when we first got started together and how, when Kayla came to me, if I'm remembering correctly, it was because your husband was actually already working with a trainer, and this trainer knew me. And, it was kind of like his wife was thinking about getting into something herself, and she's just a little nervous, like didn't feel like she really had the time to commit to herself. And so Kayla didn't even actually reach out to me. I reached out to her because, again, this trainer said, you know what, she might need your help. Like, let's see if you can help her out. And I remember too, it took us a little bit to get on a call because you were just like, oh, life's too busy. I'm too crazy right now. Like maybe later. And I said, let's just see where things go. Maybe I can help you, even if, this program doesn't help you. Maybe the call in itself will help you. And yeah, I just remember you sharing on that call, like, you really needed a routine. You really didn't love the idea of having to be like totally flexible, but you had 3 kids and your youngest was only 3 months old at the time. And so life just felt like crazy to you. And I know you were really, really nervous to sign up and you didn't feel like it was a time that you could commit. But at the same time, you knew that you wanted to take control back over your health for multiple reasons. And that's what I know you're going to share a little bit about today, Kayla, and just how you overcame that fear and hopefully just, motivate and inspire other moms who are really in the thick of it, feel like they don't have time to dedicate to themselves. Let's see if we can give them some, more strategies for how they really can do that. So first question I'm going to toss over to you, Kayla, is just if you wouldn't mind elaborating on where you were at, like mentally, physically, emotionally, before even getting started with me.
Yeah, so I think easiest to address is physically. I just was feeling run down postpartum, like 3 months, he said, just not getting enough sleep at night, not feeling strong enough to even like take care of my older 2 kids. So I have 3, 4, and under. And so when my baby was born, they were all 3 and under, and it was just chaos. So mentally, I really just needed something that I could grasp onto that was a consistent thing for myself, which I didn't really have beyond like taking a shower, even. So I think a lot of moms can relate to that and feeling that way. And I just remember I needed to make a change. And if it didn't happen soon, like even that early into my postpartum journey for the third time, I knew if it didn't happen soon, it probably wasn't going to happen. Or at least I would just continue to get frustrated with myself in the waiting. And so I think a lot of my apprehension to starting something like this was just I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never had a trainer. I had never really stepped foot into a gym as far as like a workout gym. And it had been like over a decade since I had even, done anything really physically intensive. Like I would run, but not consistently. And so to have something that would be more consistent was something that I was really looking forward to, but also really nervous about because once I am consistent, I don't like to break that consistency. So
So what do you feel like helped you kind of get past that fear and that hump of, you know what, I am scared. What if this doesn't work out? What if I can't be consistent with it? what if this isn't what I think it's going to be? What kind of got you through that fear and got you to say, like, I'm going to try this?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to needing to try it, needing to make a change. And if it's not for me, then realizing it doesn't have to be for me and finding something else that would work for me. But fortunately, like, I mean, you said we're kind of in the same stage of life with young kids, and you were freshly postpartum too. And just knowing that you were going through it with me, kind of like almost exactly, just really made it seem more reasonably like that I could do it. And I feel like a lot of trainers, they're not in that stage of life. They're like young and they don't, necessarily understand the fact that baby was up 6 times last night to feed every, half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then to try to wake up at 5 or 6 and, start its day and just be high energy, that's just not super realistic for someone, or it wasn't for someone like me. Now things have, settled down a little bit. My youngest is a little over a year. And so now we are in a little bit more of a routine, but just establishing that routine was kind of a struggle. And I appreciated the fact that you realized it is a struggle, especially freshly postpartum. So
100%. And, I do remember that was like your biggest thing was you just felt like if it couldn't be perfect every day or the same every day, you didn't think you'd be able to stick with it. And I remember that was a huge topic of conversation on a lot of our calls. So obviously you got through that because not every day was the same. And that we did try to, have a routine, but things broke. Like people got sick, you went on vacation, things changed. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got through that almost all or nothing mindset of like needing the routine to be the same every day and, pushing past that and being able to stick with more of the flexibility that came with this program?
yeah, so I think it comes a lot down to like just giving yourself grace. In the beginning, I knew that if I like I had this picture of like I want to, start working out 4 times a week and like get up early and do it and like you said just be consistent, build that routine. But at the same time, I was so apprehensive because I knew that that wasn't realistic. And so when I first started and we started just with like 1 or 2 workouts for like the first 2 weeks and I could just do them anytime at my house, which was a huge convenience for me. Like there's no way I can drive, 15 plus minutes to a gym, which would be the closest gym to me. I'm out in the sticks. So like there's nothing really around here. It just wasn't going to happen. So slowly over time, like with those baby steps in mind, like I started out with a certain set of weights and just that's what I had and that's what I was using. And you had set me up with certain routines that were just manageable at first. And then just challenging myself little by little. So, like, by the time I was maybe 4 weeks into the program, I was like, I feel like I can add another workout. So, I think I went up to 3 for a few weeks just to kind of test the waters. And just again, having the flexibility of like, if I didn't get to it one day because last night's sleep was totally wrecked, I got to it the next day and just being able to be a little bit more flexible and fit things in was really huge. And then just again, those baby steps kind of, started taking on, a little bit more at a time to the point now where I do feel like I am pretty consistent. Actually, this week, so we just got back from Great Wolf Lodge and my family, we all came back. Like we had a great trip for a couple of days, but we came back and we are all sick. So like this week has just been like, normally I don't work out on Sundays. Monday I do, but they don't have a gym there. So I was like, I'll be swimming. That'll be my workout. Tuesday, Wednesday now is like, I should be working out and I just have to give myself that grace. And now I feel like I'm far enough into the program where mentally that's like, I know I can be, I just need rest. I know what my body needs. And mentally, now I understand, like, I don't have to put that pressure on myself. And I'm not going to, fall off the rails either. So it's just, it's amazing because I think we started about a year ago today. And I feel like mentally, that would have not been my, like, end result. My end result would have been like, oh, I can't do it. I've missed so many days. I'm just going to give up. And so for me to realize you don't have to give up just because you have a bad day or even a bad week, you can get right back onto it.
Yeah. Ugh, I love that so much. And one, so sorry you're sick again.
Oh, you're fine.
But it
It's just
is like
other
it's the
things.
season. Yeah, 'tis the season. But that's so helpful. And so I'm just curious how, because it has been almost a year. And I think again, sometimes we underestimate slash are so hopeful that it will happen quicker. And for some people it does. I feel like we see the highlight reels on Instagram and we're not closely following other people's lives. So a lot of times it looks like we've linked and so and so has had these results and it's like gosh, they turned their whole life around in, 2 weeks when really that's not the case. It takes time and like you said it takes baby steps and so I'm curious, do you feel like the accountability support, there's lots of trainings that go on in the program, like how do you think that this program helps support that mindset shift of like let's give ourselves grace, we will stick with these things, and just that, yeah, the like I said, the total mindset shift of starting to believe in yourself and your ability to follow through.
Yeah, so I think the first 12 weeks of your program is that Strong Mama, I think.
Mhm.
And so within that program, you have so many resources that are just amazing to kind of build that core of like you need certain nutrition, you need all these things to work together. And so just chipping away a little bit at a time to get things back under control, I feel like is just huge. I think that's probably what helped me most in the beginning was just having the little check-ins. I think we checked in like once a week or once every other week with a phone call just to see how it was going. And in the beginning, it was kind of like, okay, do I really have to check in every single week? But it really was so beneficial because there were things that I might have been focusing on one week and I would talk to you about it and you'd be like, oh, well, how's this going? And I would be like, I don't know. Like, I didn't even think about that. So just to make it more like a well-rounded program and not just, strictly fitness or strictly nutrition or, just pulling it all together in a way that just made a lot of sense. And again, for somebody like me who was busy, who didn't want to do like bare minimum, but like that's all I could do initially, like, or felt like I could do initially. And then to kind of graduate from that program and then continue even beyond that, it's just gotten even better. And beyond that first program, like you've kind of stepped back a little bit. And so it's been more dependent on me to continue doing everything. And I still have access to all those resources, which is great. I can go back to those. But now I feel like I have a better grasp, a better handle on where I'm at and where I still need to get to.
Mhm.
Personally.
Yeah, and honestly, the goal in my stepping back is one to know, yeah, like you said, I'm still always here if you need that support. But number two, to help you grow that confidence that you've clearly grown, since graduating that program of like, can I do this more so on my own? And then realizing through your daily actions and testing out, like, if I go on this vacation and come back, can I just get back on without relying on, somebody to be like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And you have, and just to see the amount of confidence that has grown in yourself to sit here and be like, "Yeah, I know exactly what I have to do when I get back from vacation. I know exactly how I'm gonna feel when I'm done with this illness and what I need to do to get back on track." And so it's been so inspiring even for me to watch you build that confidence in yourself over time, and I think that's so incredible. And yeah, I mean, I've always told you I think you should be really proud of yourself, and not just in that confidence. I know you've hit so many other goals as well, and that's what I wanna speak on as well, because when you first came into the program, your goals really, to what I remember, they really weren't physical. I think you were more so along the lines of like, if I lose weight and I feel better in my clothes, like great, that is a goal, but like I more so just want to feel good again, feel like I have energy, feel like I can keep up with my kids, like those kinds of things. And then just kind of checking in with you week by week. I'm so used to checking in on those weight loss goals with many of my clients. It's kind of a primary goal. And with you, you're kind of like, yeah, yeah, I lost another couple of pounds, but like I played frisbee golf with my husband today and I didn't get winded. And I was just like, this is so fun to hear your feedback. So I wanted to give you just a chance to like elaborate on some of those goals and where you feel like you're at now in terms of reaching those goods, how you feel just like in your skin, in your body, in your energy, and all of those things.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people start a program like this to lose the weight, to see in the mirror noticeable differences. And that really wasn't my main goal. My main goal was to, like you said, be able to keep up with my kids. My kids are, 3 and under. They're just everywhere and everything. I needed to be able to keep up with them.
Sure.
And then also just to do things that I used to really enjoy doing. Like you said, not frisbee golf, ultimate frisbee, which is
Oh,
basically like football with frisbee. So you're
but
running the entire time. And I used to like to just go on the street and run or play basketball and different things like that. And that's what I felt like I was losing personally. And so I really just wanted to be able to feel like I could do that without dying. And I got to that point pretty quickly. It helped, I think, that it was summertime, that like at the end of the first 12-week program, I was able to go into like a beautiful season. So like right now I'm going stir crazy a little bit, but I did get my Peloton bike set back up after like years of it just being a coat rack to use. And yeah, I don't know, throughout the course of it, it started out small, but I did get to see some of the results that I feel like other women really prioritize. Like the weight did come off. I am back to where I was at least, before getting pregnant each time. So that was kind of nice. And I do actually see, I feel like looking in the mirror results too, which is just like a huge added bonus. It does help, I feel like, with my confidence. But yeah, it was definitely a huge thing just to be able to do some of the things that I used to love
Mhm.
more than anything.
Yeah. Do you feel like your whole family was affected when you jumped into this and made this decision?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my kids definitely noticed just my energy level. And, sometimes kids ask, oh, can you, chase me around or do this? And I would say, oh, no, I don't feel like it. Like I'm too tired or something. But I think definitely they've noticed just a shift in always wanting to play tag or, get them or whatever. And even with my husband, too, I think it's been a motivator for him also to continue to do something similar, but like on track for him. So that's what's great is like I have my thing and he has his thing and it works for both of us simultaneously and we can still like check in with each other. But I really do feel like this is something that works really well for me. And yeah. And like even when I was talking early on, like to my mom, she's like, oh, that sounds like such a great program. And I was like, yeah, it really, I mean, she's kind of like past the point where she could really do something like this, but she likes to kind of try to like keep up with some of the workouts and stuff that I try to do for if I do them over there. So,
Oh, I love that. And that's the thing. I think that sometimes when we make these decisions in the moment, it can feel selfish or like we're, spending all this money on just ourselves and things like that. And so that's what I like to remind everyone is that this really isn't just for you. Your kids are going to feel it. Your kids are going to experience a completely different feeling of energy coming off of you and the way that you play with them, the way you interact with them. And gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've heard my clients say, now my husband's on board. Now my husband's eating healthier. Now he's decided he's going to go work out. And it's just, we are such massive influences as moms of our entire household that, this is one of the most selfless things I think that we can do. So that's incredible. So I guess my final question for you is just speaking to those women who are fearful of investing in themselves, committing to something like this, feeling like they don't have time, what would your advice be to them?
my advice would be to do it. As challenging as it is, like for me, it's just anything that's new is going to be hard. And I think that at the end of the day, if you really want something, you have to make it happen. And so just signing on and even just giving it a try, even if you think, okay, I don't know if this will be for me, just giving it a shot and just putting yourself out there. It makes a world of difference. And not just in that, but like trying new things outside of a program like this. It's hard, but it's sometimes, you feel like it's worth it once you make that first step and actually doing it. So yeah, that's all I could say is just really try to do it. If I can do it, you can absolutely do it. I promise.
Yes, that's what I say. If we've got 3 kids with all of them at very young ages, and for me to add a puppy on top of that at this time, we're in the thick of it. But again, that is like why I need my time. That's not just like doom scrolling time, not just like Netflix time, because that's important too. And I have that time. but like to have this time to be like, let's make sure we're in a good headspace. Let's make sure we feel good physically makes everything else so much more manageable. And like you said, if you're on the fence, you'll never know unless you just go for it and try. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but either way you're going to learn something out of it. And I think that's what's so important is to also recognize that like most of our growth usually comes from some sort of struggle or being uncomfortable. Thank you again so much, Kayla. I really appreciate your time. And I appreciate all of your kind words that you've always had to say and your support in this program. And you just keep crushing it. And I'm so proud of you. And just thank you.
Thank you. Seriously, you make it doable.
For all the other moms out there who, are thinking, I really need to take control, to have this support, to have the accountability, to have the plan and the training and everything put together that has been so carefully laid out to create success. My program is back open. I am accepting 5 new clients a month. I know for this month, well, heading into March, 2 of those spots are already filled. So all you have to do is apply on my website at AllisonHaleyFitness.com. And you can also always shoot me a message on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm happy to have more of a conversation there as well. So with that, thank you again for joining me for another episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Realistically Consistent. If today's episode helped you, please hit subscribe and leave a quick rating as it helps more moms find the show. You can visit AllisonHaleyFitness.com for more tools, tips, and ways to stay connected. And just as a quick reminder, I'm here to share general information and encouragement, but this podcast isn't meant to replace professional medical or health advice. Everyone's circumstances are different, so be sure to check in with your trusted healthcare provider before making any big changes. Thanks again for being here, and until next time, keep showing up for yourself one realistic step at a time.